Good evening. Give me just a moment. Okay. Sorry about that. I had a hell of a coughing spree right as I was coming up after the intro. And so I was trying to get back ahead of my breath. But fun times, I tell ya. Whew. 1 second. All right. I just love it. Anyway, hope everybody's doing well. Hope you had a decent weekend. Hope you were able to accomplish anything and everything that you set out to do. I got everything accomplished. If that's, I got everything accomplished that I intended to do, but I will say that not all operations were a success. So, but hey, it's just the way it goes. Before we get started, I wanted to make note of a video that I watched just before coming here. And I would like to recommend it. J.A. Dudley just put out a video not long ago titled Moment's Notice. So that is certainly a video you want to watch. It's J.A. Dudley. J is in Juliet, period. A is in Alpha, period. Space, and Dudley, D-U-D-L-E-Y, J.A. Dudley. He, I'm sure everybody already knows, but he's one of the Bear tribe, and he put out a video, like I said, titled Moment's Notice. And, wow. I mean, if that doesn't humble you, I don't know what will. And I absolutely, I feel his frustration because I see it across the board all the time. Man, sorry, I'm just trying to clear this out. Otherwise, it'll just keep giving me fits. But so he was pretty frustrated. I've been there. I've done that. I do it every day. 1 second. Okay. Whew, that's quite a bit better. Sometimes I'm a glutton for punishment. You don't know why I said that yet. You will in a couple of moments. So anyway, J.A. Dudley, incredible video, incredibly humbling. I understand how he feels, because, like, many of the same questions, and a lot of things he may not even posed as a question, but watching his video will make you ask why on a lot of things. And, like I was saying, I see where he's coming from in his situation. He's currently in Mississippi with Bear Nation, or I should say with Grindstone Ministries. And, they're doing storm cleanup. And he made a video and he was talking about nobody's there. And he said something to the effect of, here he sees all these people that just lost everything. And I mean, everything. And let me tell you what, as somebody that's been there, just that alone is enough to throw your mind for a hell of a loop. And he said that the people were just glad to see him. Was just glad to see that somebody gave a damn enough to see if they could help. And, it hits me in the gut. But also note, I see this every day on so many different things, it's unreal. A lot of people have valid grievances. People working 2 and 3 jobs, not able to pay the bills. I'm sorry, but if you're bitching about that, you've got a valid grievance. Nobody should have to work 2 and 3 jobs just to get by. That's bullshit. But, just like those folks in Mississippi, the only time that they're going to get any help, any attention, is whenever the limelight is shown on them. And it's a shame. I see the same thing with men in family courts, and I brought that up multiple times because I'm a victim of it. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. There ain't anybody who gives a damn. There isn't. There isn't anybody that gives a damn that I haven't seen my boys since 2014. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. That's a fact. People can sit there and tell you all day long that they care. Oh, yeah? Care is more than words. Care is more than words. Care is when you do. And, I'm not asking anything. I'm not trying to throw a pity party. I'm saying this is the way the world is. A lot of people talk about this whole prepping thing and how, you're on your own. Ain't nobody coming to help. Well, it ain't no different right now. It's really not no different right now. I could tell you my story. I'm not going to, but I could tell you my story. And trying to get some help. But it'd be pointless. But it's one of those stories you look at and go, okay, this is just messed up. Yeah. Try wearing these shoes. It is messed up. It is extremely messed up. But just like the large majority of people don't care about the storm victims of Mississippi, they don't care about my plights with not being able to see my children, my life being turned upside down just because a woman can walk in a courtroom and lie. They don't have to have any evidence. They don't have to have any charges. They don't have to do a damn thing. They can completely eradicate a man out of his children's lives with absolutely no proof whatsoever. And they do it daily. I'm not a rare instance. I wouldn't say a commonality. Most men get as far as at least visitation. It's unreal. But nobody cares. Just the way it is. So it's very sobering to watch that video from J.A. Dudley. Very sobering, because it's the truth. Nobody gives a shit. If we gave a shit, we'd be fighting for one another. Plain and simple. How many people are sitting behind bars right now over the January 6 bullcrap? I'm sorry, there's like over 350 million of us cats on this block of dirt. I'm pretty sure that if it was our intent to free those individuals would be freed. You can't say that. You have to remain within the law. I know, that's what the Founding Fathers wrote in the Declaration, isn't it? They were telling us that we should cow down, that we should bow down, we should start kissing boots, and that we should do whatever the government tells us to do. That's what that meant, isn't it? Oh, wait. No, it didn't say that. What did it say? Yeah, it says we should have been turning shit up a long time ago. Facts. That's what the Founding Fathers of this nation had to say. What about the Founding Father of the universe? I wonder what he would have to say. Wonder if there's anything in the user book or the user manual for people. I wonder if there is anything in there that would, tell us whether or not we should be standing up for one another or whether or not we should be cowering down hoping somebody else does it. I have a pretty good idea what the good book's going to say. But anyway, I just wanted to point that out. I wanted to go over that. Let's see. Pardon my coughing. I'm getting over it now, which I was getting over it now. Why do I say that? Because damn it, tonight, and I'm just a cheap bastard, and you're going to have to deal with that, but I'm going to enjoy a cigar with you folks. We're going to chat. Whatever you want to chat about. Pretty much anything's open for discussion except for the UFO in my yard. That is not up for discussion. I cannot discuss that. So, with it turned this direction, I don't know what the hell that thing looks like, but yeah. So, I'm not discussing the UFO in the yard. Other than that, it's pretty much open book night. So seriously, if you guys got any questions about news, about prepping, or anything, here's your shot. I need to get better about being involved in chat. I am not involved in chat just because I'm an asshole or, it's not anything near that. 2 things. Number 1, I'm a very routine, coordinated person, if you will. If I get something in my routine, it's in that damn routine. And in fact, getting it back out of the routine is a nightmare. Just as hard as what it is to get it in the routine. So, I've got to get that in my routine, number 1. Number 2, the reason why I initially did not pay attention to chat was because it distracts me. And if I've got, so to speak, a job to do, in other words, if I've got all this stuff to go over with you, if I get distracted in other areas, I will never get there. My brain jumps, as it is, without any help. My brain jumps from tree limb to tree limb. And it's hard for me to keep it corralled in, just that's the problem I have in I'll call it textual relations. Yeah, when I have textual relations with someone, when I converse with them over text of some kind, textual relations. I did not have textual relations with that woman. Anyway, so I'm gonna enjoy a cheap, and I mean a cheap. We're going black and mild, baby. We're doing cheap. Because, I'm cheap. So, anyway, I just want to enjoy a cigar with you guys and just kick back. Not as in, gotta have a big schlong in my mouth type of cigar. I'm not into that. I mean, all that's fine and all that, but I'm not here to impress anybody. Unless showing people how you can give yourself cancer is impressive. I don't get it, but okay. But I just wanted to enjoy a cigar with you guys. And I just got huffed. Oh well. It is what it is. That's actually pretty good. Yeah. So I went them on a quest, sent them on a quest for cigars today. I got huffed again. Damn, yo. And, they seem to be a hard thing to buy these days, I guess. I don't know. I just wanted, you know how they got those, like, 5-pack of cigars, and they're just, like, Phillies or whatever. It's not a big deal, just a damn 5-pack of cigars. That's what I wanted. A couple of those and maybe a pack of either Dutch Treats or Swisher Sweets, those cigarette-sized cigars. My dad used to smoke all of it, cigars and the Swisher Sweets, and Dad smoked a pipe, but not the same kind of pipe I smoke, but no, I don't smoke a crack pipe, knock it off. Dad smoked a tobacco pipe, and, I've got a pinch hitter, so close. But hey, Dad didn't smoke weed and I didn't drink, so that's differences there too. At least I don't know of Dad smoking weed. He never told me if he ever did. I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think he did. I mean, I'm not saying I don't think he ever did, because I wouldn't believe that for a second. I don't think he did it as in it was his thing. So I don't know. He hadn't drank. I don't know when he quit drinking. I'm not sure if that was he was totally done drinking before I was born or not. I honestly don't know. So I only remember the one time of him drinking, and that was a mistake that he never forgave himself for. So probably a reason why I wasn't a drinker, and kind of, yeah, I was I was actually made fun of because I was kind of anti-alcohol, right? I just didn't, I wouldn't prevent anybody from doing it or anything. I just really wasn't interested. And, I'd hang out with you. I'd sit there and smoke a joint while you're drinking a beer or whatever, drinking or taking shots, whatever. I don't care. I'd sit there and smoke a joint, smoke a bowl, whatever. It's just I didn't want to drink alcohol. Why? Because it poisons you. That's how it works. It literally poisons your nervous system. That's how alcohol works. Why would I want to do that? Why would I want to do that? Marijuana doesn't do that. Not even remotely. Marijuana doesn't have harmful effects. All it does is causes your brain to increase different chemicals, and it results in an effect similar to if you were slightly deprived of oxygen. And it's really kind of hard to say that because it's not a situation that we can put ourselves in, that slightly deprived of oxygen, just enough for that little buzz. So, yeah. I think that's what they thought it was for a while. I think they thought it was depriving oxygen from the brain. And that's actually not how it works. So, anyway, I wrote reports about it in high school. Believe it or not, I did. That was my report for health class. Alcohol versus marijuana. Nobody was happy with me that day. I had the school pissed off. The other students thought I was even more stupid than they did before. And it was funny because I even made the point of it. You see how mad the teacher is? That's because everything I told you is true. And I walked away, dropped the report on the floor. I guess that was my equivalent of dropping the mic. I literally dropped my report on the floor and went and sit down. Man. I look back at the person that I was, going all the way back to high school. And I was never what I would think would be a bad person. Don't get me wrong. I had plenty of flaws. But I was not a malicious person. I did not want to cause harm on others. And one thing that has been ultimately important to me throughout my life was I want to leave as least impact on others possible. Now, when I say that, there's obviously different forms of impact. I was raised that you should do for yourself as much as you possibly can. And so I have that to a fault. Some people would call it pride. I don't know. I don't know that it's pride. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. I guess it is. Really. I guess it is. But, I mentioned earlier that I tried getting help once before because medically I'm in some bad shape. And, yeah, it would be nice to be able to go to a doctor. It'd be nice to find out exactly what's wrong. It'd be nice to, I don't know, maybe start some treatment on the things I've got going on. But it's not an option for me. It's just not an option. And it's messed up. Absolutely messed up. You know, all those years that I put in busting my ass. All that money that I've paid into Social Security. Hell, all that money that I've paid into unemployment that I've never drawn on one time in my life. Never. I tried to draw unemployment one time and was denied. Here's the messed up thing. Whether or not I got employment is supposed to be between myself and my previous employer. Okay? Unemployment really doesn't have a say-so in the matter. Unless there's a dispute in which they give you a mediator and you and your previous employer and them talk on the phone and then a decision is made from there. Now, that's if they contest your unemployment. My boss didn't contest my unemployment. And in fact, that phone call, that three-way phone call that we had with the mediator only involved 2 phones. And the reason why is because my ass was sitting in my former boss's office. I was sitting there. I know damn well what he said. I was there. They knew that we were in the same room. We were sitting in the same room. They knew it. And he told them flat out, look, what's going on is not Mike's fault. That's not his fault. It's not our fault. I'm out, one of my best employees. He's out of a job. And none of it makes sense. Let me tell you what happened. This gets even better, right? So I've got 3 sons. One of them's older. He was born in 93. And child support, all that good stuff. And I'd been paying. In fact, I was caught up. I wasn't behind any. I wasn't in arrears, none. I was completely caught up. Everything was going fine. They were taking the money out of my check every week. In fact, taking a third of my check every week per one kid. And I got a letter in the mail. I opened it up, and and it's from the court. And it's informing, I think it was the court. It could have been Secretary of State. I don't remember for sure. But it was informing me that my driver's license was going to be suspended. Now, I did pest control. I drove a company truck. I couldn't have that happen. So I let my boss know immediately what was going on. Well, for one, I had to go to this court date, so I needed a day off. And he looked at me and was like, "This don't make any sense. I'm the one that signs the damn check that goes to pay your child support. I know it gets paid. I'm the one who signs the check." I know, man. I know. He even wrote me up a letter to take with me to court. I showed up at court, took the letter, told him flat out, "Look, I'm not even behind. Why are you guys suspending my driver's license? I'm not behind. Right here is all my paperwork to prove that I'm not behind. Here's a letter from my employer saying that I have to be able to drive the company truck. I'm asking for at least a hardship license, something so I can continue my job." And I was told they didn't give a damn what I wanted. My driver's license was being suspended. And it was. I wasn't in arrears. There was no problems. Nothing. They caused the problem. They caused the problem. There's a reason why I don't have a real good taste in my mouth for government. Because all they gotta have is a reason, and they can destroy your life. All they have to have is a reason, whether it's valid or not. And if there's any way that they can extract money from you out of a situation, you damn well bet they're going to go as far as they possibly can. They do it all the time. Take marriage stuff, for instance. Look at all the times the governments have stepped in. Usually state governments have stepped in and said, you either have to do this, this, and that for either getting married or getting divorced. At one time, I think there were several states that required you to, I believe, take an HIV test, if I'm not mistaken. I think there were several states that required you to take an HIV test in order to get your marriage license. Okay? I mean, that's kind of messed up. And, of course, many states require some type of counseling, mediation, stuff like that. If you're dissolving a marriage, the children are involved. But it's not for the right reasons. They're not there making things copacetic. They're not there making sure that mom and dad have equal time and that, that, again, things are running smoothly. They're not there for that. They're there to collect a check. That's it. That's it. They're there to collect a check. They don't give two shits about you, your kids, and your family. What they care about is that funding that they got. And they care about that judge sending as many people to them as possible so they can cash that register every single time. That's what that's about. Do you realize how many men get charged? Well, not charged, I don't know, but they get put under false orders of protection. In other words, it was a lie. The reasoning behind the order of protection was a complete frickin' lie from the get-go. That's one thing. That's one thing. But some states take it to the next step. And then they want to require that you go to anger management classes without any lick of evidence that you've even got an anger issue. But it's just a throw down default that, oh, you're here in front of me for this, so you got to do this. Bing! cash that check. There's a reason I'm not too hip on government. There's a reason I constantly talk about that learning curve, and a reason why I get highly frustrated when I have to sit in the same spot getting slapped by the same spot of the learning curve. Because I'm waiting on others to move up, to take that step forward. Well, what step? What step? Well, we have to be honest with ourselves. That's the first step. We have to be completely 100% honest with ourselves and others. But we better start with ourselves first. Yeah, exactly. Deadbeat men go to jail, deadbeat women get child support. Yep. That's the long and short of it. Absolutely rewarded 100% of the way to kick old man to the curb. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. What we have going on domestically, the fall of this nation, is on us. Like it or not. That, by the way, that would probably be one good truth to start out with. That would probably be a good one to start with. We let this slip. And I'm not saying that pointing a finger, being condescending, or I'm just being factual. Because until we recognize that, until we acknowledge that and accept that, we can't take that next step. Okay. Well, let's stop fucking up. That'll help. And then from there, we can start repaving the road ahead of us. But it's going to take a lot of leveling before we can get to that point. A whole lot of leveling. I am heavily concerned. I have spent, I don't know how long now, months, reassessing our situation daily. And I'm pretty positive we're far enough off that cliff. There's no turning around and catching the edge. I guess to discuss a little bit going on, in fact, that has to do with why I titled the show I did. You know, even the situation when it comes to international tensions. Not getting any better. And as I've said many times, whether or not what we see is for real or a facade doesn't matter. We still get left in the same situation either way. We're still going to have to provide for ourselves. We're still going to have to be able to feed our loved ones. We're still going to have to be able to help our neighbor. I want to make sure to include that. And that's why I get frustrated. I was talking about how Jay Dudley was frustrated at the situation about, I mean, it seems like not a whole lot of people care about those folks down in Mississippi. If you're the only crew down there, you know, or one of a handful of crews down there. And it's the same way I feel with this whole prepping topic and trying to talk you guys off this Hollywood ledge that the prepper channels have you on. By the way, Jimmy Crack Corn, I see your comment. I will get to it in just a moment. You know, it's kind of like the same thing. Because it's like, I think, you know how you watch a movie and there's that defining moment when shit hits the fan. It's a very defining moment when shit hits the fan. Well, it's done that way on purpose. It's a movie, and that's supposed to indicate to you that, oh my, shit just hit the fan. Well, we aren't going to have that. Okay, and I know that even though Zelensky's the highest paid actor, we're not going to get either him or we're not going to get any of the other numbnuts over in Hollywood to be able to walk out on a stage and tell us, oh, shit hit the fan today. Shit hit the fan today. It's not going to happen. Shit's already hit the fan. We've been living it for years. But it slowly degrades. It's not an overnight thing. Certainly there are things that can be an overnight thing. Certainly. But for the most part, no. It's a slow grind down. And in fact, we're not the only ones that thought, hey, you know what? Maybe preparedness is a good idea. Because preppers have existed ever since biblical times. There's been a lot of damn preppers. And there's a hell of a lot of preppers, prior preppers, that went a lot further than what we go, right? During the Cold War, there was a whole hell of a lot of people that were doing things, whether it be bomb shelters in their backyard or in their basement. There's a house here in town that I've heard about that the basement was pretty much set up to be a bomb shelter, and that there's lead sheeting in the ceiling to, I guess, protect from radiation. And that's a house right here in town. In fact, I know what house it is. So there's been preppers for a long, long time. And you can read books that were written by them. In some instances, some of them wrote books about it. And they are very clear about that, about how it's just a slow grind down. And in some cases, some of the people that put back extra stuff, by the time that the real defining SHTF moment hit, they had already gone through all their stores. Because it was that slow of a grind down. So don't expect that Hollywood defined SHTF moment, because it's already started. You don't want to see that defining moment, because that is the moment that life will never be the same again. Regardless of your quote-unquote level of innocence today, your level of innocence after a major event is probably going to be shattered in short order. That's just being realistic with you. Again, you get all the prepper channels out there, hoorah, hoorah, here's my AR-15. You don't ever want to have to use that AR-15. And the day that you have to successfully use it against someone else will be a day that you will never be able to get out of your mind. You will never be able to clean that stain, ever, no matter how hard you try. So the prepper channels can run around with their body armor and their AR-15s talking about how every day is going to be a major firefight. None of them's picked up a damn book from people that's gone through the situations to know how it goes down. They've just watched movies and TV shows, so put on the body armor and grab the AR-15, because that's how every day is going to be spent. No? Not even close. Not even close. There's going to be areas, there's going to be places, certainly, that are going to be just non-stop hotspots. Absolutely. But most of the country's not going to be like that. Most of the country's going to be like what we got right here. And yeah, you're going to have your nonsense, you're going to have your violence, no matter how small and quiet the town is. But some, to a level that's manageable. And believe me, there's ways to manage it. Again, that innocence goes away really quickly after the big SHTF does happen. Don't look forward to it. These folks are, they always say pride and ego go before the fall. And that's so true. I have watched that play out just over and over and over. And it's going to continue to play out. Okay, let me catch up here. Let's see. Jimmy Crack Corn, I'll read what you say, because the chat won't show up later after I trim it. It said, child support thing sucks. I had a friend who had to live with his mom because he couldn't pay his child support like 8 years down the road. They get back together, they have another, and then she leaves. Yep. Yep. And let me tell you what, I doubt that was just happenstance, brother. I doubt that was just happenstance. She wanted another 18 years of checks is what she wanted. And then you said poor guy couldn't survive. They took all but like 100 from him every payday. Yeah, that's what I got. That's what I was left over. It was 99 something a week is what I got left out of my paycheck. Yep. Let's see. Yep, took my license, even though I was caught up and all that. It's crazy. Yeah. And I'm pretty well rural. I mean, yeah, I live in a small town, but it's a small town, and St. Louis is like 30 miles away, but I've never really done anything in St. Louis. I've no intent to work there. No, thank you. Yeah, I mean, you have to have a vehicle to get around here. Yep, that's what they do. And the whole thing, it's a setup, and it's a setup to get your ass in jail. Why? Because their buddies own the jails. So for every day your ass is locked up for non-compliance, they get more money. It's nothing but a freaking money-making scheme. It's an industry, and it's unbelievable bullshit. And it's one of those situations that folks that have never been in that situation or intimately known somebody that went through one of those messed up situations, and they think, they think that they're just deadbeats. They're just deadbeats. Nah. They will put you in a position that you can't get out of. And every time you try to, they push down that much harder. That's why I came up with the term some time ago, minicide. That's what I call it. I call it minicide. That's what they're doing. They're destroying men. That's what they're doing. From every single angle. They're destroying them emotionally. They're destroying them financially. They're destroying them in every way. They're taking everything that makes a man away. And if they do anything to try to maintain it, they're evil. They must be destroyed. They're racist. They're homophobic. They're any label that you can throw on them to cancel them out. It's unreal. It is absolutely unreal. Man, that plane kind of sounded a little bit low too. Pull up radar box over here on the side real quick. 1 second. We had one fly over, and it wasn't anything special, just like this. This just a United Airlines. Okay, that was 32,000 feet. Kind of loud. The other one was like, I think it was like around 10,000 feet or something like that. And if it was even that high. But, man, was it loud when it went over. It was a 737. So, I think that was Delta. Anyway, not that you guys care about that. But yeah, other than that, I don't got anything that I know of aside from that. I just figured I'd throw that out there. Got on the topic, like I said, when I saw that video from J.A. Dudley, that was incredible. I guess I had a look. You guys may have actually put stuff up there. No, you didn't. Okay. I didn't even check. Because I don't know. There's like this question section or something. And I can switch between the two. But I can only have one up at a time. And I had the live chat up so I could see the regular chat. My heater? Are you talking about the diesel heater? Or what? My high performance Vivo, what is it? 5KSS or something? GT 5KSS, that's it. I trolled the hell out of a couple people on Facebook with that heater. The oil heater. Oil heater. Oil heater. Which one are you talking about, homie? Trying to think of which one you're talking about. Oh, you're talking about that one down there. Oh, now I see what you're talking about. Oh, I get it now. That's freaking hilarious. I never noticed that till you said it. I pointed it out to Jen. I never noticed that. I never noticed that. That's hilarious. That's awesome. We got huffed, by the way. We just got huffed, so. That's awesome. I've never noticed that before. Oh, man. It's actually pretty good. And this is one long-ass lasting cigar. Damn, yo. I'm enjoying it. I did have one earlier. I've got some Swisher Sweets. Well, they got these, and they called me up. And told me about it. They were like, there's two in there for like 99 cents. And I'm like, that ain't two cigars. And so I thought what they were getting was blunt wraps. So, and I just thought, well, okay. I mean, if you're gonna bring me a blunt wrap and force me to roll a blunt, I have to oblige. But I wanted a cigar. And see, that's probably where the disconnect was. Because, marijuana is legal here. And so when they went in asking about cigars, what they probably thought I was wanting is something to roll a blunt with. And it wasn't. I was just wanting a damn cigar. Anyway, they aren't blunt wraps. They're actual cigars, 2 for 99 cents. I was like, holy cow, I wished I would have knew that. I would have had them like pile up on those. Because not something I want to do all the time. But I like tobacco. I never did not like tobacco. I never fell out of love with tobacco. I didn't quit smoking for my health. That would be the smart reason. I actually quit smoking because of money, and it wasn't, well, I'll tell you, I've told about this before. It was the night before Thanksgiving, 2013, and I went through the minivan digging every little nook and cranny I could think of, digging for change, trying to come up with enough money for a bag of tobacco. I rolled my own cigarettes. I had plenty of tubes, but I was out of tobacco. So I almost had enough for a bag of tobacco. I was just a little bit shy. So I thought, well, I'll borrow it from the kids and I'll put it back. Because anytime I've ever done that, I do it. And I don't just put it back. I usually put back at least twice what I borrowed. Well, they always make out, believe me. Well, as I was getting ready to go do that, it dawned on me. The thought dawned on me. Here it is, the night before Thanksgiving. I'm digging for change for a bag of tobacco. I don't even have 99 cents each to buy the boys a generic Matchbox car for Christmas. And I was so pissed off at myself on so many levels, because I had already been involved in a vaping business, right? I sold it. I made the juice. I sold it. I was already involved in a business related to it. I had all the equipment, all the juice, and everything I needed right in my bedroom to start vaping. And so that's what I did. I went back. Drug out some flavorings, some of my base nicotine, a mod, and all that. And the father had to have been with me because I have a very, very, very picky palate. And there's not a lot of e-juices that I like, especially to the level of being able to vape all day long. And my first concoction was my strawberry milk recipe, and it was just off the charts. Tasted just like Nesquik strawberry milk. And by the way, making e-juice flavors is not that easy. It takes a lot of trial and error. There's quite a bit of work that goes into it. So just one off right away, right off the surface, just nail one, was the father helping me out. So I took that hand up from the father and I quit smoking. And at that point I started 100% vaping. That's all I did. No more smoking. And that's been since 2013. So it was never that I didn't like tobacco. I love tobacco. I love the taste of tobacco. It's so awesome. It is. It just is. It's a pleasure. It's a joy that I have. Wow, cheap cigs, I'm catching back up again. Cheap cigs is like $8. Damn, yo. That's crazy. Yeah, see, I wanted one of those, I wanted a pack or two of those, like either Dutch Treats or Swisher Sweets. I wanted 1 or 2 packs of those as well, but I guess they didn't have them, so. I'm telling you, man, vaping, if you set yourself up with the right stuff, vaping, your smoking days are done. So, you have to make that decision that you want to do it. But I guarantee you that vaping makes it so easy. So very easy. You just have to know what to get. Because unfortunately, there's a lot of people that like to make money out there. The vaping industry is not the least in that category. In fact, it's quite high up there. It's unfortunate because those of us that started out in the vaping industry when it came to the United States, we were all about that one-on-one help with other individuals. Absolutely, I'll set you up with a kit, man. Absolutely, I will. Absolutely, because that's what it takes. You can't go into a vape shop to where the people that are working behind the counter are interested in seeing the most expensive thing that they can get you to buy. And unfortunately, that's what a lot of them do. It's not about how much you spend. You do have, it does cost to get into it. And you do have to buy good hardware. But they will have you buying and doing shit you don't need. That's a fact. Now, I would say this. If you've got a little bit of an income coming in, so in other words, if you could afford to buy coils and stuff like that, I would start out that way. Start out, ease into it, ease into it, buy juice that's pre-made. I can help you out. I don't know a lot about bought juices, but I do know about Jimmy the Juice Man. And, that namesake there, brother. I do know about Jimmy the Juice Man, and I do know that this right here is one of the most delicious juices that I've tasted in my life, and it's from Jimmy the Juice Man, and it's Sherb. It's called Sherb, and it's short for sherbet, and that's exactly what it tastes like, sherbet ice cream, and it is dead on. If you like sherbet ice cream, especially the lime of the sherbet ice cream, but you get it all, man. You'll get that little orange dreamsicle, and you'll get every damn flavor, the raspberry, you'll get it all. That is some awesome shit. Sherb, Jimmy the Juice Man, good stuff. Anyway, and if you buy coils and stuff, then all you got to do is put a new coil in, fill your tank up, vape away. Couldn't be simpler. And if that's working out for you, if that's doing good for you, then if you want to work with learning how to do your own wicks and coils and stuff like I do, more than happy to help you on learning how to do that. But I do not recommend you start out doing that, because vaping is a learning curve of its own, and you don't want to increase the complexity of that learning curve by trying to go up as many curves at one time. First off, we got to get you vaping and got to get you satisfied with vaping. That's number one. Once we got you satisfied with vaping, you're not even looking at cigarettes or anything anymore, then we'll work on you making your own juice, doing your own coils, stuff like that. So sounds like a plan for you. I'll be more than happy to help you with that, man. I've done it countless times, man. I've helped hundreds and hundreds of people quit smoking. So be more than happy to help you quit smoking. I can't keep the damn thing lit. Oof. But, yeah, it is just kind of nice once in a while have that tobacco taste and even a little bit of a nicotine buzz. That's kind of fun, too. That's one thing I do miss. I don't get that buzz in the morning. That first cigarette. That was always nice. You won't have that no more. But you'll be good. You'll just have to get up and start huffing away on your puffer. And you'll be good in a few moments. I think I've told you about that before. Vaping's not like regular smoking. Smoking hits you instantly the moment you inhale. Vaping, not so much. Takes a little bit. And that's what discourages a lot of people in vaping. You get used to it. All right. Well, I do have a myriad of headlines here from Friday. I reckon we could get on them and get the day over with, and I'm ready for it to be over with. It was, nah, I don't want to say a frustrating day. I don't want to say a challenging day. It's just a day that no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't get anything accomplished. And it is what it is. I just normally don't have a day of that. I might have parts of my day where I, pretty much piss in the wind, but usually I can be productive somewhat. I got groceries put up. Is that productive? Because I did get groceries put up. I've ate 3 ice cream cones. I'm trying to catch up to Biden, man. I mean, shit. If that's how you get the office of the presidency is by eating a shitload of ice cream and shitting your pants, I've got this. I've got this. Put me on that ballot. Anyway, I have a feeling it might be a little more detailed than that to actually run the country, but hey, I mean, they're doing it now. Got the ice cream. Not my favorite ice cream. No. Had to settle for chocolate chip because there was no cookies and cream. What kind of communist store? And that's what it is. It's a plot from the Russians, the KGB. They're in it. They're trying to drive me mad by taking all of the cookies and cream ice cream out of this town. I know it. Okay. I'll step away from the bong. Back to the news. I still got to get going on one of my Vietnam stories. One day I'll have to let one rip. I don't know. It's been a long time since I did a Vietnam story. It's been decades since I've done a Vietnam story. For those that don't know, and I've said it talked about it on the show multiple times. In my younger days, like my teenage years, early adulthood, there were several just spiels that I would go on, and it's just to be the village idiot for a laugh, And I had several different things that I'd go into. One, I would talk Ebonics or jive or what have you, and I was damn good at it. And it was hilarious because, like, you could tell I'm just like the whitest dude you've ever met, and so it would just be so ironic hearing it come from me. I would do a pretty good British impersonation. I don't do as good anymore. I could do Ozzy Osbourne to a T at one time. I also had stories, and some would be Vietnam stories where I would I'd talk about being down in the trenches, and yeah, it just to be goofy, because the fun of it was engaging somebody in a conversation with like that, and have the conversation go on for a couple of minutes before it dawns on them that I'm not even old enough to have been in Vietnam. That was the whole fun of it for me. Anyway. Yeah, I'll definitely hook you up. We'll talk about it over Messenger or whatever, and we'll find out what it is that would best suit you. And I've already got pretty good ideas. There's some pretty much solid answers out there. Like when it comes to mods, these right here, hands down. Geek Vape is the company. Geek Vape. This here is called an Aegis Legend, and it takes two 18650s, and it's kind of big. You can see it's like the size of my hand. But they have I think it's an Aegis Solo, I think they call it, which is pretty much the same mod, except it's cut down to one battery, so it's smaller. But I think it's the same wattage, or real close to the same wattage, same features, and all that stuff. So I highly recommend Geek Vape Aegis, whether it be a Legend or whether it be a Solo, because they are tanks. I mean, absolute freaking tanks. So I highly recommend that for a mod. And then I would have to look at the tanks and stuff like that. In fact, when you bought this, you could probably buy a kit that came with a tank that would be perfect. Just get some coils that will fit that tank, and you're set. Don't forget the batteries, because it won't come with them. Or the charger. So, but yeah, be more than happy to help you with that stuff. One quick second. The weather bouncing back and forth has my sinuses and everything just haywire. Anyway. Yeah, it went out. Can't believe it's still going. Okay. Let's do some headlines. Starting out with Friday. U.S. troops suffered brain injuries in Syria. Benefits of globalization unfairly distributed, says IMF. Brits warned of empty shelves in grocery stores. Israel carries out airstrike near Damascus, says Syria. Nordic nation cleared to join NATO. Ukraine dragging feet on prisoner swap, says an official. Icon of U.S. industry to quit Russia, says RBK. EU nation killed civilians in Iraq, says media investigation. U.S. is disappointed with UN court ruling on Iran. Spain still dependent on Russian gas, says media. Trump shaman gets early release, which I'm glad to see. At the same time, I think what they're doing is trying to shove under a rug what they've done. I think they're trying to put this situation, or at least parts of this situation, to where people feel, I guess, and of course this is only going to be one side of people, but people feel, I guess, satisfied. And by that I mean the people that believe in the whole insurrection bit and that nonsense. It satisfies them because, hey, he got punished, he got charged, he got, At the same time, is how likely is he going to try to go back after the government for what they did to him? If they were to have laid it on any thicker, that just increases the chances of him doing so. So maybe, and I'm going by what I think they're thinking, maybe he feels like, hey, look, I got out like this. I don't want to make too many waves and then put my ass back in. Because they like to intimidate people that way. Yeah, it's not an ending that I would have liked to have seen, and hopefully it's not the ending. But that's what I get the feeling they're trying to do. Because after that video was released, I mean, that video said a lot. Indian business has great prospects in Russia. Spieth director tells RT. Let's see. Not sure what you're referring to. Thought it was just me. Let's see. Indian business has... I read that one. Wall Street Journal demands retaliation after journalist arrest in Russia. Well, hey, Wall Street Journal's journalist gets arrested in Russia for spying. And I'm not going to jump on any bandwagon and say he was or he wasn't. He very well could have been. And here yet, a Russian journalist was assassinated today. That, by the way, is the actual reason for the title of the show. I have a feeling, as I've reported before, sometimes accurate, sometimes not, that I believe the skies are going to light up over Ukraine. I think we're staring down the barrel of the largest barrage yet. We'll see. We'll see, but I don't think Putin's going to play around when it comes to what happened this morning. So... Putin approves new foreign policy concept. Oh, sinuses, yeah. Nah, it's been off the hook. Not just sinuses, but my joints, because I've got joint problems. My joints, my muscles, everything has just been freaking off the charts. So, hopefully, we're heading for a little bit more level weather without it swinging back and forth, because that's what gets me, especially the cold fronts. The cold fronts kill me. Let's see. I wished I wouldn't have did half the shit I did in my younger days, man. I wished I would have listened to my dad. He warned me. He warned me all the time. Boy, you're going to feel every bit of that when you get older. Yeah, whatever. I'm invincible. Stoltenberg predicts when Sweden could join NATO. By the way, I found out I wasn't invincible. Yeah, that lack of invincibility kicked my ass. Key Russian ally calls for truce in Ukraine. Germany can make do without Russian gas, says regulator. Well, I don't know what regulator, because I bet your gas regulators aren't saying that, because they're on E, yo. Brussels reveals decision on Russian oil price cap. Hang on. Huh? Nothing. Well, 16,000 feet. A Boeing 737 7H4. That's why it was a little noisy. Let's see. Brussels reveals decision on Russian oil price cap. Kremlin comments on Ukraine peace initiatives. Don't blow people up. Talk of peace. I got huffed for that. Talk of peacekeepers in Ukraine extremely dangerous, says the Kremlin. Pardon me. Yeah, and I'm running late tonight. We're running late on gummy time, so. Biden rejects call to expel Russians. I'll have you know, I am kept on a very strict schedule. I'm getting huffed again. She's a bitch. I mean, not just in the female dog sense, but she's a bitchy bitch, right? I mean, No, I love that dog. That dog is the most amazing creature that she is a blast. Let's see. Kiev protests as Russia to chair UN Security Council. EU underestimates Russian economic capacity, says Orban. Hell, I can't even say it. Jury verdict announced in Gwyneth Paltrow ski crash trial. Wimbledon lifts Russia and Belarus ban with a catch. What, now they gotta have catchers, like baseball catchers? How does that work on tennis? Japan bans exports of kids' toys to Russia. Oh, damn you, Japan. Damn you, Japan. Not letting them kids have any of that lead-painted toys. How dare you? Russia makes payment on sovereign debt. Italy bans ChatGPT. Plant fungus infects humans, says a report. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Yeah. Not scared. Not scared. Richard Branson's rocket firm axes nearly entire workforce. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that they're closing up shop on that, which kind of bums me out. Because out of all the rockets, and just to make sure that we cover this, right? You know, you have Elon Musk and SpaceX, right? You had Bezos's big boner, right? And then you had Branson's whirligig. That's what I call it, a whirligig. I can't remember what he called it. But out of all of the civilian spaceflight systems that were tested, which those were the three, I liked Branson's the best. That was the coolest, right? And it's one thing to shoot up on a big boner and come back down, right? That's one thing. It's another thing to take up SpaceX's capsule and come back down. That's cool. Nothing wrong with that. But that thing that Branson designed, he engineered, or whoever engineered it for him, that was cool. I mean, it like literally transformed into space and into a glider. That was just, that was awesome. I thought that was really cool. And I got the feeling that day, by the way, when I watched that launch, that there were some cards stacked against Mr. Branson. Because he had a very slight anomaly. And it seemed to me like they really went after him for it. It was a slight anomaly. Nobody at any point was ever in any kind of danger. In fact, the anomaly didn't even go outside of its envelope. It wasn't even outside of safe operating parameters. It was a non-event. It was a non-event. I just got the feeling that there's a little bit of inside money doing the talking there. I don't know, maybe it's just because I really liked his design, but it just didn't seem right. I'll be honest, it didn't seem like Richard Branson got a fair shake in that. Anyway, Chinese students get time off to fall in love. Yeah, right? You know, we get told a lot of propaganda about China. And I'm always wondering. Because, by the way, unless it's somebody that comes from there, sorry, but I'm not going to believe you. And I would love to have a conversation with somebody from China. I would love to have conversations with people from around the world, not just Asian people from around the world. Because what I want, what would make me rich, would be to learn more about other cultures. And that's what I want more than anything. I would absolutely love, and especially China, to sit down with somebody from China and have an honest conversation. Because I want to learn, I want to grow, and I'm convinced, aside from spiritually, the only way that you can grow, even remotely close to at the speed and the amount of spiritual growth, it's cultural growth. And the amount of understanding that you have for others really widens and deepens when you learn about more culture, when you have a little more understanding as to why other individuals do things or see things differently. Anyway. Norway's wealth fund unable to withdraw funds from Russia. The ex-Russian president comments on EU peacekeepers. Iran vows revenge on Israel. Paralympic Blade Runner killer denied parole. That was, I believe, the guy that killed the. He was that Paralympic runner, the one that really made a lot of headlines with his performance, and just incredible performance that he did. And unfortunately, he was murdered, and so that's what this is about. The person who killed him was apparently denied parole. Sad that he even came up for parole, to be honest. RT Spanish successful despite ban, says Reuters Institute. Europe needs Russia to survive, says Lukashenko. Belarus ready to host Russian strategic nuclear weapons, says President. A hard spring is coming, says Serbian President. Top U.S. generals skeptical of Ukraine's prospects. China tells EU president to get better speechwriter. Could you tell us to get a better president, please? Thank you. Yeah, refund. Can we have a refund for our Ben & Jerry president, please? Let's see. Musk seeks meeting with Chinese leadership, says Reuters. Tornadoes devastate multiple... Oh, we switched over. I'm sorry. We are now to yesterday morning's news. Let me, real quick, take my last couple of drags off of this. Otherwise, I'll be smoking plastic. That was good. Can't believe that damn thing lasted this long. Anyway, once again, on yesterday morning's news, U.S. to keep warships in Mediterranean for more military options. Yeah, I mean, we've got a lake here. I don't know. I would be happy to have maybe a destroyer and a carrier. So I'm pretty sure the lake's big enough that they could fit. I don't know if much else is getting in the lake, but and it ain't floating, I'll tell you that damn much. Let's see. Raiffeisen Bank eyes exit from Russia amid Western pressure. Dozens killed in Hindu temple disaster. German debt reaches all-time high. Biden set to skip coronation of King Charles, says Telegraph. Well then, be that way. You know what? Don't worry about it, Joe. I'm not going either. So, Nah, I don't know if I've got anything to wear, you know? Google co-founder among billionaires subpoenaed in Epstein-linked case, says Wall Street Journal. Hungry to pay Ukraine for transit of Russian oil, says Reuters. Russian firms seek Chinese speakers, says Recruiter. Von der Leyen in line for NATO's top job, says The Sun. Details of possible charges against Trump emerge, says AP. Ukraine's offensive force fully manned, says Kiev. Let's see. India set to ditch U.S. dollar in cross-border trade. Musk reveals some of Twitter's algorithm. Germany refuses extra tank pledges for Ukraine. Everyone on Earth will die, a top AI researcher warns. Well, that's hopeful. A senior Ukrainian bishop says he's under house arrest. So, they didn't just put cuffs on you, they literally put you under the house? That sucks. Swedish retail sales slump. Study busts myth about alcohol. And that was which myth? I can't remember. Oh, yeah, that is good for you. Yep. The study that is good for you. So now, I will argue about the wine. Because there are far too many people that's been the way they do life. They have a glass of wine every day. And I'm sorry, regardless of these damn studies, it's been long proven that that glass of wine most certainly helped alleviate problems with heart and blood pressure. And I'm not making medical claims here or anything else. I am stating what's already been stated medically. I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving medical advice. In fact, I advise against alcohol. But a little bit of wine, especially if it's grape wine, that's really where it's at. That's really what you want. It's a good grape wine. I can't remember the name of the chemical or whatever that grapes have in it. That's high in antioxidants and it's got all kinds of goodies in it. And drinking a glass of wine isn't a bad idea. Again, I'm not giving medical advice whatsoever, but and I'm pretty anti-alcohol, but I could certainly understand why people would drink a glass of wine a day. I can't stand wine at all. I wouldn't be opposed to drinking a glass a day, especially a glass right before bed. It would probably really help me with getting to sleep. But nah, not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. I'm extremely self-aware, and I am aware that I have a very addictive personality. And I don't even want to get something started that I'm going to possibly have a hard time getting stopped. So, I'm aware of the monkey, and I won't even let him climb on my back. So, let's see. EU has abandoned peace and prosperity, says Orban. Judge passes first sentence in deadly Rust shooting. Yeah. And like what? 6 months probation? Yeah. 6 months of unsupervised probation. Okay, and this went to the filmmaker David Halls. Now, my issue with this, and I'm not saying they shouldn't have been charged with anything whatsoever. I think, though, that this is much the situation like I was explaining earlier with the Trump shaman dude. This is a situation to where I think they're just giving a sentence to appease people that is not really intended to really hold a lot of weight, just to appease people. We'll see what happens with Alec Baldwin. I have a feeling that even if he gets this much, I'll be surprised. Let's see. Russia boosts ammo production, says defense minister. Zelensky slaps sanctions on hero of Ukraine. North Korea slams Zelensky's nuclear ambition. France names sole broker for possible Ukraine peace deal, says CNN. Dr. Doom makes bold claim about the U.S. A pro-Trump troll convicted over memes. I mean, it's nonsense what's going on. Another grain trading giant to exit Russia, says Bloomberg. U.S. drag show legislation violates the First Amendment, says a judge. Erdogan rubber stamps Nordic nations' NATO membership. Massive crowds protest in Tel Aviv. German defense minister warns of worst case U.S. election scenario. Yeah, you mean Biden getting reelected? U.S. troops should leave Germany, says MP. By the way, they're talking about how we will, the worst case scenario, more or less, is basically saying, like, depending upon who gets in, would kind of depend on the direction that we go as far as what, like, the EU and all of that's concerned. More or less, I think that they're concerned that the U.S. is about to turn the tap off, to be honest. And I think that's what a lot of the concern is about. And I don't know what to tell them, but the U.S. can't keep the tap going. I don't know what to tell them. It's not a matter of who gets in office. It's a matter of we're tapped. Let's see. Syria suffers from third night of Israeli strikes, says the media. Ukrainian cops put ankle monitor on senior Orthodox bishop. And we are to today's news. Sip of coffee. Okay, U.S. allows migrants to pick their gender. Unemployment in Russia at historic low, says data. And, statistics are statistics. We could argue, is that because many of the unemployed were sent to battle? Possible. I don't know. Attempts to isolate Russia have failed, says EU member. No shit, Sherlock. Russian city enters global top 3 for expensive luxury housing. Damascus and Cairo close to restoring ties, says Wall Street Journal. CIA surveillance methods on Assange revealed. A Russian city mulls getting rid of unpatriotic signs. Eastern Europe drowning in Ukrainian grain, says Le Figaro. I know I say that wrong. EU country's ruling party fights Anglomania. Watch lightning strikes One World Trade Center in New York. I sure it's like pretty impressive lightning strike, to be honest. High activity detected at major North Korean nuclear site. It looks like they're getting ready to do another, an actual device test. They've been doing a lot of the missile testing. Sounds like they're about ready to test another device. So EU nation increases sales of wine to Russia. Who's going to supply the cheese? Zelensky's government is an evil force, says Orthodox priest. Classic American novel slapped with trigger warning. Yeah, Gone with the Wind now has a white supremacy trigger warning. Eurozone core inflation hits record high. Death toll rises in the U.S., and I can't remember. This was for the storms that just happened. This here says 26 people and injured dozens more. So, absolutely crazy storms, and it's going to keep getting worse. I've been, how many years here saying that this was going to happen? Each year the storm systems are going to get incrementally worse, and, well, they've done that very thing every single year, so it's leading up to pole shift. That's what we can expect. Iran warns off U.S. spy plane, says media. French minister in hot water for Playboy interview, says media. And Jen and I were talking about this earlier. This woman's a genius. I mean, come on. I mean, she didn't do, like, she's not the centerfold in the Playboy or nothing like that. She didn't do an expose or nothing like that. It was just an interview. And this chick's a genius. Come on. She does her interview with Playboy? Okay, how are you going to get more exposure than that? I mean, let's be honest. Let's be honest. It's sick. I don't like it. I'm against it. I'm against that too. Yes, I'm not a fan of alcohol. I'm not a fan of porn. I'm not a fan of those kinds of things. I don't get it. I mean, I don't see a bit of offense in what she did. I read it, and it was about what it was supposed to be about. I think she was a genius. Anyway, plurality of Americans agree with Trump indictment, says a poll. I don't know about that. 1 dead, 15 injured in cafe blast in St. Petersburg. This was the assassination I mentioned previously. Details emerge on blast that killed Russian war reporter. It was a statue that or a statuette that I guess they were presenting to him. And it was actually a bomb. So he was the only one that died. I think there was like 15 other people injured. And I'm telling you, I think that the skies of Ukraine are going to light up over this. Blinken and Lavrov discuss Wall Street Journal reporter's arrest. Russian official ridicules Ukrainian plan to rename Crimean port. Former governor joins 2024 presidential race. China investigates U.S. chip maker for security risks. And by the way, speaking about candidates and stuff, Glenn Beck interviewed Nikki Haley, and that's a solid no from me. Solid no from me. Let's see. New York Times is unreadable propaganda, says Musk. Video of blast killing Russian war reporter surfaces. Russian exports to Finland dwindle. California police union chief charged in international fentanyl ring. Trump Jr. mocks highest paid actor Zelensky. Most Republicans back Trump as 2024 candidate, says poll. And I don't get this. After reading the headline of an article that says a plurality of Americans agree with the indictment, and then this headline, I do believe this headline. I do believe that the majority of Republicans probably do back Trump. I believe this headline. I don't believe the other one. China hits space milestone. Wagner chief declares Bakhmut captured. So I don't know if that's what's really happening or not. That's a big deal. That's a very, very big deal. Did this assassination of the reporter get them to push harder and seal up the deal there? I don't know. But I really do think we're going to see the skies of Ukraine light up. Trump pulls in $5 million following indictment, says media. They're only going to make them stronger. Killed Russian war blogger posed danger to Kiev regime, says Zakharova. And that is it. That is it. Okay. Wow. 9:45. Wow. You guys almost got 2 hours tonight. Damn, I haven't did a show that long in a long, long time. Anyway, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed having a cigar with you and just hanging out and talking. That was truly enjoyable. We need to do that. Maybe that can be a Sunday thing. So, anyway, I am going to get out of here. I've got spaceships to deal with. I've got bitches to deal with. What? See? I don't know why she would have that reaction. I mean, you know, you got to take care of your bitches. I mean, it's just life. You got to. That's what a gentleman does. Takes care of his bitches. I'm sorry, I'm off the charts. I'm just having fun with it. I'm gonna be dead later, so you might have an idea. I will give you a hint. All right, Jen will be the one to stab me to death. Blue will be the one to help bury me. So just make sure you write that down and tell the investigators. Anyway, I'm out of here. I hope you all have a good evening. God willing, I will see you back tomorrow night. As always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit. And shalom.